The history of the Swinerton family of companies spans 3 centuries and mirrors the booms and busts of an evolving post-industrial America. As Swinerton celebrates 125 years of innovative building in 2013, it is poised to lead the future of construction, bridging more than 12 decades of lessons learned with a thirst for innovation in action. Swinerton's longevity is a testament to the integrity of its leaders, the time-tested excellence of its structures, and above all, the passion of its people. The Swinerton story began in 1888 when a young Swedish immigrant, Charles Lindgren, formed a brick masonry and contracting partnership with 2 other entrepreneurs in post-gold rush Los Angeles, where a building boom kept pace with a population that quadrupled during the 1880s. Opportunity in the form of disaster propelled Charles Lindgren north in 1889 after a fire devastated the frontier town of Bakersfield. Lindgren helped rebuild the town, earning a solid reputation as a contractor and one of Bakersfield's leading citizens. Lindgren's business spread throughout the San Joaquin Valley. Soon, the allure of the San Francisco Bay Area beckoned him further northward. At the turn of the century, San Francisco was already a thriving cultural metropolis, offering rich opportunities for an aspiring builder. In 1900, Lindgren partnered with Berkeley engineer Lewis Hicks, an early expert in steel-reinforced concrete construction. In the early morning hours of April 18, 1906, a massive earthquake rocked San Francisco. More than 25,000 structures were destroyed by the quake and ensuing fires. When the flames died down, many of the buildings still standing were built with steel-reinforced concrete. Already specialists in the technique, Lindgren and Hicks quickly had their hands full as the city began to rebuild. In 1908, Charles Lindgren formed the Lindgren Company with his brother Fred. The brothers recruited top-of-the-line estimators, superintendents, and foremen to join them. One particular man, estimator Alfred Bingham Swinerton, stood out. The namesake of the Swinerton family of companies would help it grow for the next 55 years. In 1915, San Francisco hosted the Panama Pacific International Exposition to celebrate its rise from the ashes and the opening of the Panama Canal. The Lindgren Company helped build a dazzling temporary city for this World's Fair, as well as an exposition auditorium that remains one of the city's architectural treasures to this day. When the United States entered the dark days of World War I, the company adapted to meet the country's shifting needs. Private building in San Francisco dropped to its lowest level in 15 years. However, the Lindgren Company continued to thrive, even completing several landmark structures. This strategy of flexibility and innovation would serve it well time and time again. As America recovered from the war's financial and emotional toll, construction surged once again. The Roaring '20s heard the rhythms of jazz crackle on radios as bootleg liquor flowed in speakeasies. A war-weary nation enjoyed a renewed zest for life and an appetite for stocks and real estate. New office construction in Northern California reached record highs as invention of the high-speed elevator allowed builders to reach for the sky. Lindgren and Swinerton, as the company was then called, forever altered the San Francisco skyline with the city's first high-rise. Lindgren and Swinerton was building the Pacific Stock Exchange when the stock market crashed in 1929, signaling the economy's downward spiral into the Great Depression. Several large contracts, along with a strategy of borrowing from a bank and hiring the best teams from shuttered contractors, saw the company through the toughest years of the Depression. Lindgren and Swinerton completed landmark structures and expanded to Southern California, even as 497 other contractors in the state went bankrupt by 1932. Sport and leisure projects helped lift the spirits of a country down on its luck, and new beverage factories helped toast the repeal of Prohibition. When America entered the Second World War, the country banded together to support the war effort and strengthen the home front. Lindgren and Swinerton turned its focus to national defense and infrastructure needs. The company formed a new general partnership, Swinerton and Wahlberg, to manage these complex industrial projects. Wartime housing, arsenals, and manufacturing plants expanded the company's reach into Nevada and Colorado. When the war ended and troops returned home, peacetime prosperity ushered in a building boom. The company stepped up to meet high demand for new homes, healthcare facilities, and factories. Savoring peacetime with the rest of America, Swinerton and Wahlberg satisfied the cravings of a consumer culture with manufacturing plants for products spanning cars, candy, beer, film, paper, and canned goods. When overseas conflict returned in the 1960s with the Vietnam War, the company once again helped meet America's defense and industrial needs. On the lighter side of life, the builders also embraced a blooming leisure and retail market. Hallmark hotels on the Hawaiian islands of Oahu and Maui provided peaceful refuge from political turmoil at home and abroad. The following decade ushered in an era of strategic expansion. A growing Swinerton and Wahlberg opened a new office in Portland, Oregon, and placed deeper roots in the building communities of Hawaii, Colorado, Los Angeles, and the Bay Area. New technology arrived on the scene in the form of computers. Swinerton and Wahlberg was one of the first Bay Area builders to use computerized scheduling. The company also built campuses for some of the earliest leaders in computing. During an office building bonanza in the 1980s, the company built more than a dozen showcase high-rises. A new specialized interiors division was formed in 1982 to meet the demand for high-end office space. When the company celebrated its centennial in 1988, times were good and skylines were high. However, an economic recession at the end of the decade caused a steep drop-off in construction volumes. The company weathered the storm by taking a page from its own history book, borrowing from a bank, and hiring the best people from shuttered firms. When the economy brightened again in the mid-1990s, Swinerton and Wahlberg focused on building a stronger future. The holding company of Swinerton Incorporated was formed in 1996 to integrate a growing family of acquired construction firms and specialized divisions. Fortified with new teams and resources, Swinerton partnered with clients at the heart of American commerce, culture, and travel. The company also expanded its network to the Southwest and Central United States. A unified Swinerton greeted the new millennium by topping $1 billion in annual revenue for the first time. As the 21st century unfolds, Swinerton has maintained its tradition of innovation and adaptability, pursuing work in an array of progressive, forward-thinking markets. The culture across the Swinerton family thrives on sustainability, technology, and community. Reflecting on 125 years of building America, Swinerton is committed to honoring its history while envisioning the future. The company remains focused on the primary values that have shaped its success from its earliest days as a 19th century boomtown startup, leading with integrity, passion, and excellence.